What's something us Americans aren't ready to hear?
I was tagged in this one quite a few times, and as you guys know, they get this stuff wrong quite a bit. Here's some more helping non-Americans figure out America.
Your education system is far worse than you think. And the state of your political climate proves it.
This is something that's actually widely believed around the world, is that Americans are so poorly educated that the rest of the world can see the problems of the United States and know how to fix it, and all 340 million of us don't know how to do it. Which is why they feel the need to lecture us about our own political system and our own country. And really, our public education system is not bad at all compared to the rest of the world. We rank 18th, on par with Finland, the United Kingdom, Denmark, Sweden, and we're ahead of countries like Germany, Italy, Norway, Iceland, and France. And those are the ones that are the most guilty of lecturing us because they think we have a terrible education system. But what's funny is that countries like Japan and South Korea score way better than all of those countries, and they say the US has a great education system.
How you look at Florida is how the rest of the world looks at you.
You know, this is very true. It's like the vacation spot. It's a cultural hub. It seems to be like a wild and crazy place, but that's only because there's a lot of transparency there, and their issues and their crazy stories are broadcast for the world to watch, even though there's places and states a lot worse. And until you go to Florida and experience it yourself, you may never know. But it is actually kind of sort of wild in real life. So yeah, it is kind of like how the rest of the world sees the US.
You're eating crap that's illegal to sell in most civilized countries. Also, you're eating it like you have medical insurance.
So the food ban thing is a two-way street. There's foods that we can't import because of chemicals, and there's food we can't export because of chemicals. Like quinoline yellow E104. It's banned in the United States, Australia, Japan, Norway, and the United Arab Emirates. It's found in piccalillis, jams, jellies, bakery and pastry products, confectionery, and ice cream. It's also found in seafood products like smoked fish and crustacean paste. E104 is banned in the United States because of its possible cancer-causing properties. In 1997, the U.S. National Toxicology Program found that rats fed that dye had higher rates of liver and kidney tumors. The second part, though, we eat like we have free healthcare, that's facts. That's something that I even say.
Europeans, what is something us Americans aren't ready to hear?
All right, here's some more helping non-Americans figure out America.
You actually have less freedom than most of the world.
That's not true. That's not even 25% of the way to true. According to the Human Freedom Index, the United States ranks 17th out of 164 countries. In order for us to be less free than most of the world, we would have to rank 83rd. None of the countries freer than the United States are even a quarter of the size of the US, population-wise.
Europe and the European Union are not the same thing.
Because of things like NATO and Brexit, Americans are very aware of this. And speaking of Brexit, the only people I have ever heard say the United Kingdom has left Europe and are no longer Europeans are Brits.
Yes, you're European. No, we're not. We're not, because we're not a part of the European Union no more.
I have never, ever heard an American say that about the United Kingdom, ever.
Middle grounds exist. It doesn't always have to be pro this, anti that.
Yeah, we are completely aware of that. Most Americans fall in the middle of things when it comes to political issues. It's just our media outlets that are on the extremes, and the extremes are more politically engaged than people in the middle. So this here is the 9 political tribes of the United States. Most people fall in the middle, as you can see. I fall right here, right between stressed sideliners and ambivalent right. And on the Democrat spectrum, I am actually pretty conservative for a Democrat. It's just the extreme ends of the spectrum are the loudest and the most engaged in politics. So if you're non-American, you probably hear them a lot more than you hear political opinions like mine. Which is why you see this U-shape when it comes to voting, showing support on social media, donating to political campaigns, and attending rallies.
Europeans have read it. What do Americans have every day that you see as a luxury?
All right, here's some more helping non-Americans figure out America. Well, I guess the stuff they already know, just adding more context to it.
The size of your homes in places like Utah and Texas, there's a dedicated room for everything.
Okay, so the United States does rank 3rd in the world when it comes to average square footage per household. Number 1 and number 2 are Australia and New Zealand. But some of these averages around the world, truly shocking, smaller than a single wide trailer in the US. And a lot of them talk about AC being too expensive. One window unit would cool off their entire house. Single wides go from 500 square feet to 1,300 square feet, the average being about 800. The average double wide goes from 1,000 to 2,300 square feet. And that's just American trailers, not even houses.
Disability access everywhere. I can go to any place, theater, store, office, school, whatever, with confidence that I'll be able to navigate fine in my wheelchair.
And with the Americans with Disabilities Act, that is top priority for somebody who is constructing a building of any kind. The ADA is like the gold standard for disability access. The 4 primary goals include full participation, equal opportunity, independent living, and economic self-sufficiency. So if you want to travel to the United States and you're in a wheelchair, like by law, we got you covered.
There seems to be more nature in the US. It does help that the land mass itself is far larger than a lot of people realize.
So this one, like the houses, is both a blessing and a curse. We have some of the best nature, some of the best scenery of any individual country in the entire world. But we also have some of the most horrifying extreme weather and largest, scariest animals. We have the most, biggest, fastest, and most damaging tornadoes of any country in the world. Hurricanes and wildfires every year without question. But also some of the best nature, so that's something you have to navigate while visiting the US. Once again, I have been summoned. I was tagged in this video so many times that the search is Bloxcast Scenic Highways. And it makes sense that the app would even tell me to stitch this, because these are freeways. Yes, freeways are highways, but not all highways are freeways. Freeways are much larger and have more lanes. A freeway will also not have anything like sidewalks, bicycle lanes, crosswalks, red lights. Highways will. Freeways will typically have higher speed limits than highways. And the highways that the commenter was talking about will be in more rural areas. The commenter was talking about highways like this one, Highway 3 in Hawaii. This is the Kangamangas Highway in my state of New Hampshire. And I'm pretty sure every single one of my followers from New Hampshire knew I was going to put the Kangamangas Highway in this video. We get people from all over the world, India, Japan, South Korea, Switzerland, Norway, to visit the Kangamangas Highway to just look at the autumn foliage. This is Highway 1 in California, hundreds and hundreds of miles of cliffside view while driving. You can pretty much pick a biome and we'll have a scenic highway in it. This one's probably the scariest. It's almost like a giant bridge. This is Highway 1 in Key West, Florida. It would actually be more of a challenge to find a highway in the United States without at least one scenic spot. But yeah, that's the difference between a freeway and a highway.
After being in Europe for 3 weeks, I can confidently say that everything we consume in America is actual poison.
So I'm gonna go ahead and remove some of that confidence for you because you told us what you ate over the course of the last 4 meals, and I'll tell you exactly what the problem is.
I've eaten pizza for my last 4 meals and have never once got bloated, never once felt sick, never once felt groggy.
Okay, but it's not poison. It has to do with the wheat that is being used in the foods over there versus over here. You just listed off the classic symptoms for gluten intolerance. Throughout Europe and most of the world, they use a softer wheat than the wheat that we use in North America. In North America, we use a harder, denser red wheat, which has a lot more gluten in it. Because that's the wheat that we grow in North America, that's gonna be readily available and cheaper for restaurants to use. Europeans will come over here and be like, man, I'm trying your local bakeries, I'm going to Whole Foods and nicer grocery stores, and the problem's not going away. And I tell them, well, you could have just stayed at Walmart and got the soft wheat option and you wouldn't have that stomach problem. And it's like I would say to this creator, when he comes back to the United States, try switching to a soft wheat option and try switching to soft wheat flour, and you might notice the problem go away. I could be completely wrong. But one thing is true, you are completely wrong when it comes to saying that our food is poison. We export more food than any other country in the world. But it's like, at this point, I'm starting to realize that it's not enough to just present the facts, because they have an alternative truth close to their heart, and we have to start poking holes in that too. Like, the government is doing this to keep us all sick. That's also why they lean into the whole food chemicals thing as well. Somehow that makes them money. It's one of the largest cash expenditures. It would be much more of a cash grab to switch to a single-payer system and keep Americans healthy, doing the complete opposite. You're just showing that you don't know science and you don't know how to make money. You as in the people that are just like pushing that full time. Not you as the person I'm stitching. The person I'm stitching is Johnny Townsend, an NFL punter. The dude knows how to make money. But yeah, that's the whole food situation there. Not poison, just harder wheat. A lot more wheat. You probably have a gluten intolerance.